Where is the I that says, "My childhood made me"? When you say I, where do you place it? In a photograph in a dusty album? In a wound? In a neuron? In a story repeated until it sounds like scripture? No. No. When I say I, how will you localize that? Here in the chest? Here in the head? In a date on a calendar? No. The I is not time-stamped. The I is not a museum exhibit. The I is not a scar. The past can be remembered. It can be blessed. It can be understood with compassion. But it cannot define I am. This is the axiom on which all spiritual work stands. I am not in the physical. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. I find that the one who lives me is not confined to a childhood, nor to a century. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. How then shall we find the I inside a memory? Memory is a picture passing in the mind. It is not the mind, and it is certainly not the life which knows the mind. Do not misread me. This is not denial, not repression, not the hardening of a heart that refuses to feel. This is not the archaeology of pain, dusting the bones forever and calling it living. This is a pivot from analysis to presence. It is the surrender of a false assignment, find yourself by studying your ruins, and the acceptance of a true law. I and my Father are one. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Identity is not stitched out of episodes. It is revealed out of being. When a child is hurt, we carry them. We do not enthrone them. So with the inner child. We may lift, we may soothe, we may listen, but we must not hand it the scepter and say, "Rule my name." "Thou shalt have no other gods but one" is not a cruel command. It is the mercy that frees us from worshiping a wound, a triumph, a family totem, or a private myth. If we deify the past, we will sacrifice our present upon its altar. If we let God be God, the past takes its rightful place as a servant of wisdom, not a master of identity. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. In that humility, a new center dawns. The I am that speaks before Abraham was is not junior to your biography. It does not wait for a better version of yesterday to appear. It is the life that is. Sit a moment in that. Do not try to feel something. Do not try to unfeel something. Only this. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. In that sufficiency, notice how the grip of yesterday relaxes without your prying fingers. Notice how the I that witnesses memory is free of the weather in the memory. So we begin here, not by warring with remembrance, and not by living in it, but by standing where remembrance cannot rename us. The I that lives is not contained in childhood. Therefore, childhood cannot be your identity. Keep that close, not as a slogan, but as a door. Knock, and it opens into now. And in the now, the Father within bears witness to your name. Now let us look with kindness at the gentle trap. We have learned to speak of the inner child. We have learned to validate ache and to say, "That hurt." This has been mercy for many who were never believed. Good. Let us not take away the cup of compassion. When a child is crying, we do not debate their tears. We lift them. But hear this, we carry them. We do not enthrone them. The language that once opened the door to tenderness can, if we are not watchful, become a throne room in which yesterday is crowned as I. The trap is subtle. If freedom requires that you revisit every scene, interview every ghost, and dust every bone, then memory has become your master, and you have become a student of yesterday. How long will that course last? When will graduation day arrive if every new corridor exposes another corridor? As you sow, so shall ye reap. If you sow identification with the real of yesterday, you reap more reals. It is a cosmic law. You cannot violate it any more than you can make 2 times 2 equal 5. Violate 2 times 2 is 4, and you have invoked the wrath of mathematics. Violate identity by planting yourself in time, and you invoke the tyranny of time. Do not ever tamper with a cosmic law, because it is a double-edged sword. This is the difference between healing and fixation. Remembrance can be a servant of wisdom. Yes, you may open a page, read, and learn. But obsession is a form of worship. When the past becomes the place you must live to be whole, it has become another god. Thou shalt have no other gods but one. Not a god named injury, not a god named triumph, not a god named family myth. The first commandment is mercy, not cruelty. It rescues you from giving your life to a calendar. And here's the spiritual issue laid bare. Identity has been localized in then, instead of realized in now. When I say I, how will you localize that? In 1987? In a kitchen? In a schoolyard? No. No. The I that knows the memory is not inside the memory. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, I find the witness untouched by the weather of recall. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. It does not depend upon excavation reports. So we pivot. The Christ way is not to dig forever, but to consent to a new center. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. We do not rearrange the psyche with mental fingers. We open the hand and let the Father within bear witness to our name. We turn from the ruins to the presence, and we sit, desireless, until the click comes, the quiet assurance that I and the Father are one. In that atmosphere, remembrance loses its scepter. It may present itself, you need not deny it, but it may not rename you. In my oneness with God, I find completeness, security, peace. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Say it softly, not as magic but as law. Let it settle your breath. Let it take the shovel from your hand and place into it a lamp. Then watch. The museum of yesterday remains, but you no longer live in it. You visit as needed, with love, and you leave without chains. Presence is your address, and from that holy address, even the child within is blessed, carried, soothed, and released from a throne it was never meant to hold. Now let us feel the weight. Not the weight of fear, but the weight of law. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Not as punishment, as principle. It is as impersonal as mathematics, as impartial as gravity. If you plant tomatoes, you do not harvest pears. If you sow, I am my wound, you do not reap freedom. You reap a life organized around wounding. This is not God punishing. This is law responding. When you press 2 times 2, you do not get 5. If you insist on 5, the error is not angry. It is inevitable. So with identity. Plant yourself in time, and time will rule you. Identify with Christ, and Christ will reveal himself as your life. Think of traffic law. You may appeal to the officer. You may plead the beauty of your destination. The red light is not moved by your story. Cross it, and there is collision. It is the same with a bridge. The engineer who ignores load and span does not negotiate with steel. The structure answers in its own tongue. So with cosmic law. Do not tamper with it. It is a double-edged sword. Use psychological tools to strengthen a throne for ego history, and even the noble tools will become chains. You will find yourself clever in bondage, articulate in captivity, fluent in grievance. The law returns what you submit to it. It returns identification to the one who makes identification his God. Now hear the mercy in this. We are not abolishing the facts of childhood. We are removing the authority we gave them to name us. We are saying to the record, you may inform, you may not enthrone. We are taking the scepter from time and placing it in the I am. I am not in the physical. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, I discover that my conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. From there, the record stands, but it cannot rename. In that atmosphere, the same memory rises and falls like weather, while the sky remains untroubled. This is moral gravity. Thou shalt have no other gods but one is not narrowness. It is safety. Love thy neighbor as thyself is not sentiment. It is alignment. It begins here. Refuse to use your history as license to harm, withdraw, or demand. Do not say, I am harsh because my father was. That is sowing bondage and asking to reap peace. Do not say, you owe me because I suffered. That is sowing debt and praying for freedom. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Sow Christ, reap Christ. Sow grievance, reap grievance. The law is faithful. And how do we sow Christ? We cease using mind to manipulate mind. We retire from the courthouse of blame. We consent to silence and let the Father within do the naming. We take into our breath the simple password of alignment. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not a charm, a principle. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. Say it until the click comes, until the center shifts from biography to being. Then watch the harvest, not the end of remembrance, but the end of its rule. Not the erasure of the child, but the release of the throne. God is the actor. I am merely the instrument. And the law, which once returned bondage to bondage, now returns freedom to freedom, sufficiency to sufficiency, love to love. Let us come nearer to the heart of this. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, is not a phrase about travel. It is a revelation about locality. I am not in the physical. Then where am I? When I say I, can you point to a square inch of matter or a date on a calendar? Can you localize I in 1993 or in a kitchen where someone shouted? No. No. When you close your eyes, what do you find? A flow of pictures, a rustle of thought, a mood like weather. But where is the one who sees these? Is the witness inside the scene, or is the scene inside awareness? Is the seer born of the picture, or does the picture rise and set within the light of the seer? No. No. The witness is not in the film. The film is in the light. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. How then shall any analyst discover me inside a memory? A body is an instrument. A memory is a picture. I is neither. Childhood is not the subject of consciousness. Childhood is an object in consciousness. The story is in you. You are not in the story. The I precedes the scene, precedes the season, precedes the words we use to tell it. When the storm of recollection passes, notice that something remains purely itself, unchanged, the capacity to know. That which knows is the I. That I is not time's offspring. This is the Christ revelation of identity. I and my Father are one. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, I am not the sum of experiences, not the remainder of losses, not the proud tally of triumphs. Experience reports, it does not ordain. Time records, it does not create. What happened cannot make me, and what failed to happen cannot unmake me. Identity is in God, not in time. The calendar can hang on the wall of memory, but it cannot hang a name upon the I am. Understand what this asks of us. We are not asked to invent superior thoughts about yesterday or to varnish scenes with spiritual language. We are asked to abide where the scenes arise. Presence. We are asked to stand where time cannot stick, where memory cannot rename. Do not wrestle with the pictures. Do not argue with the script. Let the film run if it runs. Let it fade if it fades. But do not step into it to become a character again. Be the light in which it plays. In my oneness with God, I am complete now. In my oneness with God, I am secure now. In my oneness with God, I am free now. So we prepare, not to make a better past, but to cease locating ourselves in it. We withdraw the claim, I am there, and rest in the fact, I am here. We let the breath receive the password of sufficiency. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then we wait in quiet, desireless receptivity until the click comes, not a thought, but a settling, absent from the body and its dates, present with the Lord and His name. From there, the scenes can pass without enthroning, the memories can rise without binding, and the I remains, the witness, the Son, the life hid with Christ in God. Now we come to the holy caution. Do not interfere. Do not take pliers to the soul. Do not pry at feeling. Do not coerce an outcome. No forcing tears to prove sincerity. No pressing the mind to produce a verdict. No mental violence against yourself. Never. Withdraw the tinkering hand. This inner life is not a machine to be repaired by will. It is a temple in which God bears witness to God. Thou shalt have no other gods but one includes this. Do not enthrone technique. Do not worship your own wrench. Understand instrumentality. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. Healing is revelation, not self-engineering. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts in this work because the Father within must do the renaming, or nothing true has happened. If human will names you, human will must forever defend you. If the Spirit names you, the name holds of itself. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, identity dawns, it is not manufactured. We wait, and when the click comes, the name announces itself without our pushing and without our pride. A common fear rises here. If I stop processing, will I become numb? If I cease picking at the scab, will I harden? No. No. Not numb, present. Not hardened, quietly alive. The branch that abides in the vine does not grow callous. It receives the sap. The orchard does not lecture its fruit into ripeness. Life ripens it. Absent from the body with its compulsions, present with the Lord with His sufficiency, you will find sensitivity, not sedation. Warmth, not wood. The quiet you enter is not an ice field, it is a spring. The less you bully the psyche, the more life flows through unresisted. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things is not anesthesia. It is circulation. Let love provide the ethic. Treat your own past self as neighbor. Love that one as yourself. Feed them, clothe them, listen to them, and then escort them to the gate of God where every neighbor must go. Carry, do not enthrone. Bless, do not obey. Do not use your history to extort, to accuse, to excuse. And do not use spirituality to silence, to shame, to deny. Love thy neighbor as thyself applies first in the mirror. You may say to the child you, I see you, I bless you, I release you from ruling my name. Compassion is not a scepter, it is a hand. So the next step is not more explanation. The next step is receptivity. We retire from argument and cease from picking. We sit desireless, without plans to improve the soul, and we let the Father within do the renaming. In that silence, without interference, the law fulfills itself. Identity reappears as I am, not as a mood, not as a theory, but as presence. And there, very softly, we let the breath pray for us. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. We will wait until the click comes. Then the work proceeds, not by our power, but by the life that lives us. Now let us sit where the past cannot speak above God. Not to perform, not to get, not to fix a single scene, but to yield. Choose a chair of comfort, nothing ceremonial, only a seat that permits quiet. It will be a chair low enough that the feet touch the floor without strain. Let the spine be easy, not rigid, no posing. Let the shoulders rest. Place the hands relaxed upon the lap, palms neither clenched nor lifted in effort, just there. Never prop the elbows, never brace the body. In this position, with the eyes closed, there is no occult reason for this, only one of physical quiet. You will find it easier to become virtually unaware of having a body. We are not fighting sensation. We are allowing comfort to remove the body from thought. Now withdraw desire. We do not come to demand an answer, nor to manufacture a feeling. No programs, no time limits held over God. We come in naked receptivity. Father, live thou my life. Fulfill thyself in me. That is all. Not to use God, but to be used of God. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the be-er. Let the breath fall into its own rhythm. If a thought of childhood wanders through, do not chase it and do not chain it. Let it pass as a breeze passes the window. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Whisper it inwardly, not as magic, as alignment. Wait now. Desireless waiting. This is not a trance. This is attentiveness without appetite. Be still enough to notice that awareness is present before any picture rises. Be gentle enough to refuse commentary. If the mind reaches for repair, say softly, no. No. Not by might nor by power. If the heart tightens to secure a sign, say again, Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. We wait in a state of receptivity until finally the click comes. Not imagination, not self-stimulated emotion. A simple shift, like a door softly unlocking. A recognition that presence is here, being itself. When the click comes, do nothing with it. Do not seize it. Do not run to explain it. Rest. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. Let the name announce itself in its own way. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. Notice how, in this atmosphere, childhood cannot speak above God. Its volume drops of itself. The picture may still be on the wall of memory. It no longer holds the scepter. You are the witness, not the product. You are not in the picture. The picture is in the light. Remain a few moments more, wordless if words wish to fall away. If words remain, let them be these. Father, live thou my life. Fulfill thyself in me. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Rise only when you can carry this hush into motion, not as a mood, but as law. Then ordinary time resumes, yet the center is not time. The throne is not childhood. God is God. And you, in conscious union, are free. When you sit in this quiet, do not be surprised when a scene walks in uninvited. The mind will unspool a hallway. The body will echo a sensation. The heart will tap a rhythm you have not heard in years. This is not failure. This is not regression. This is the weather reporting to the sky. The silence is not an eraser. It is an atmosphere in which things show themselves without compulsion. Let them. Let them come, let them go, and keep your seat. Now here is the posture that protects freedom. Do not enter the scene. Remain the witness. You are the light in which the picture appears. You are not a character upon the screen. Say within, softly but with authority, no, no, this is not me. This is not now. This is not God. The picture is past. The presence is present. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. I abide as awareness, not as episode. I am not in the physical. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. Much less will anyone find me inside a snapshot. Let the cloud pass through the sky. Do not climb a ladder to rearrange the cloud. The sky does not fix clouds. It outlasts them. Replace analysis with recognition. Do not turn the quiet into a courtroom where you prosecute, defend, and call witnesses. Do not pick at meaning. Do not fish for culprits. Do not thread the needle of why for the 10th time. Recognition is enough. Presence is here. A memory is moving through presence. The real activity is God dissolving false identification, not you solving a puzzle. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. You are merely the instrument of consent. Consent is a light touch. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Say it once. Breathe. Let the Father within carry the work beyond your sight. When the narrative grows loud, meet it with a simple truth. I am not in the past. I am in presence. Again, I am not in the past. I am in presence. Not as defiance, alignment. The moment you accept that, the scene loses jurisdiction. It may play, but it cannot pass sentence. If emotion surges, do not dam it and do not direct it. Let it run its course as rain across a field. The field does not chase the rain. It receives, it drains, it greens. So your soul. It is safe in God to feel without enthroning feeling. If a tender image appears, the child at the window, the empty chair, bless it. Love thy neighbor as thyself begins here. Little one, be blessed. And then escort it to the altar of now. You may rest. You do not rule. Carry, do not crown. The law holds. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Sow witnessing, reap freedom. Sow identification, reap repetition. Keep the scepter where it belongs, in I am. You may remember everything and still be free, because remembrance is not identification. The picture is in the light is not in the picture. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. The click returns and steadies the heart. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. I am not in the past. I am in presence. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Love now takes us beyond the small circle. When identity rests in I am, it cannot be confined to a surname, a lineage, a set of household customs. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Hear that enlargement. In this oneness, there are no private fences. The life that lives you lives your brother, your mother, your enemy, the stranger at the gate. Absent from the body and its genealogies, present with the Lord and His indivisible life, you awaken to a kinship that does not require permission from history. The family spell, the repeating stories, the handed-down angers, the inherited vows, loses its sorcery in the presence that names us sons and daughters of one life. We will not pretend that patterns did not operate. They did. Words were said. Silences spoke louder than words. Choices cut grooves into the field. Acknowledge it. Bless it. But do not enthrone it. Patterns are reports, not rulers. They do not own your being. And they do not authorize resentment as a lifestyle. As you sow, so shall ye reap. If you sow perpetual indictment, you reap a harvest of grievance. If you sow presence, you reap freedom. Do not tamper with this law. It is as certain as 2 times 2 is 4. To make anger a god because it is ancestral anger only doubles the chain. Thou shalt have no other gods but one breaks the spell by relocating identity in God, not in family mythology. Here, the golden rule stands as our impersonal standard. If you would not imprison another in their past, do not imprison yourself there. And do not imprison your parents or your children there either. Love thy neighbor as thyself is not sentiment. It is law. The same law that forbids you from chaining your neighbor to their worst day forbids you from chaining yourself to yours. Across scriptures and centuries, this principle has spoken in one voice. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Would you have them look at you and see only a scene? Then do not look at them and see only a scene. Let God be God in all, and let each be seen in the light, not in a snapshot. Now watch what happens when sufficiency is non-competitive. When I want nothing you have, and you want nothing I have, conflict loses fuel. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. I am not waiting for a family apology to breathe. I am not demanding an inheritance to be safe. I am not bargaining for validation to feel real. The vine is my source, not the branches. Then love becomes natural, because I am not trying to take from you, and you are not trying to take from me. Cooperation replaces comparison. Blessing replaces bargaining. And what of forgiveness? Let us take it out of the realm of moods and place it in the realm of law. Forgiveness is not a verdict that says, it was acceptable. No, no. Forgiveness is release from identification. It is the lawful refusal to carry a name that God did not give, whether for myself or for another. It is not accomplished by willful amnesia or by polishing the story. It is accomplished by relocation, out of time into I am. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. So I do not force forgiveness. I stand where identity is in God and let the name dissolve the chain. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. From that sufficiency, the family spell breaks. Ancestral identity fades into universal kinship, and love, one law, one life, holds us all without bondage. Now let us enter the mercy that does not tire. You have as much right to forgive yourself as you have to forgive your neighbor. 70 times 7, and then again when counting would turn it into merit. No drama, no trumpet. Forgiveness is not a performance. It is location. You do not declare yourself innocent by decree. You step out of the court. How? By returning to the one center where names are given, not earned. Absent from the body of blame, present with the Lord of grace, forgiveness ceases to be a verdict and becomes a state. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Understand the aim. We are not erasing childhood. We are removing its crown. We are saying, this is not my throne. This is a chapter I can bless and release. Memories may remain on the shelf. The scepter is returned to I am. When I say I do not point to a page. I point to presence. No, no, not a page. Presence. Identity does not require amnesia. Identity requires allegiance. Thou shalt have no other gods but one includes this. Do not worship your own story, even when it is tender. Let us practice a simple inner act. Close the eyes long enough to notice awareness already here. Then, with the gentleness you would show any neighbor, address the child self. Little one, I see you. I bless you. You are loved. Do not interrogate, do not correct, do not argue. Carry, do not enthrone. And when the heart has spoken its blessing, yield the identity. Father, take this identity from me. Name me as thine own. Live thou my life. Fulfill thyself in me. Now be still. Do not assist the Spirit. Do not reach for an outcome. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Wait until the click comes. Perhaps a soft easing. Perhaps only a quiet without edge. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. You are merely the instrument of consent. Beware the subtle misuse that turns the inner child into a license. License to control, to withdraw, to keep grievance on retainer. As you sow, so shall ye reap. If you sow exemption from love because of injury, you reap isolation. If you sow authority to wound because you were wounded, you reap unrest. Do not tamper with this cosmic law. It is as sure as 2 times 2 is 4, and as impersonal as a red light at an empty intersection. Cross it, and collision does not ask your reasons. Keep it, and harmony is not a favor. It is a function. How will you know freedom is taking root? You will feel less compulsion to explain yourself by your past. The sentence, "I act this way because," will lose its steam. In the moment of a trigger, a new center will hold. I am not in the past, I am in presence. Again, I am not in the past, I am in presence. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. The title page of your life reads now, not then. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. The child self is blessed, carried to the altar, and released. Christ remains the center, the name, the throne. And in that name, you are free. Now see how freedom walks into Thursday morning. Into the inbox. Into the kitchen where a voice rises and the old reflex tries to take the scepter. Formerly the sting would say, "This proves my story." Presence now answers, "This is a wave, not a name." The feeling surges, the narrative rushes to enthrone itself, and you, absent from the body, present with the Lord, refuse the coronation. I am not in the past. I am in presence. I and my Father are one. In that one sentence, the atmosphere changes. The scene is still the scene, but it has lost its power to rename you. Practice this moment by moment. The text arrives. The tone is sharp. The solar plexus clenches. Pause. Do not argue. Do not fix. Do not explain. No, no. First, soften the body. Let the shoulders drop, the jaw unhook, the breath ease. Withdraw localization. I am not in the physical. Then inwardly return. I and my Father are one. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Whisper the password of sufficiency. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Wait a breath or two, not for drama, for the click. When the click comes, speak or act from there. If it does not come, wait one more quiet beat. Silence is not delay. It is alignment. Use the traffic law as your parable. At an intersection, you do not negotiate with the light. You stop, you look, and you proceed by principle, not by mood. The red is impersonal. Cross it, and collision does not ask your reasons. Sow with triggers. Stop. Do not let the surge run the wheel. Look, not outward for a culprit, inward to I am, absent from the body, present with the Lord. Proceed. Only when the inner green shows, peace, or at least the end of the grasp. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Sow obedience to law, reap harmony. Sow identification with grievance, reap repetition. Do not tamper with this. And be vigilant about non-interference. Do not use spiritual sight to diagnose or control another. Never say, "You're triggered, be spiritual." No, no. That is arrogance wearing a robe. Let the Father within be the doer. I never give human advice. I consent to presence. Hold your peace. Keep your prayer. Father, live thou my life. Fulfill thyself in me. Then, if a word is given, it will bless without binding. If silence is given, it will shelter without withdrawing love. Love thy neighbor as thyself means you do not make their scene your scepter, nor yours theirs. In this way, every sting becomes a bell, every bell a portal, every portal a return to center. The new center holds because it is not a mood, it is law. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. Not a self-improvement plan, alignment. Not will, receptivity. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Father, we come to the hush where names are given. We lay down pictures and claim presence. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, we release the habit of returning to yesterday's door, and we step into the I that is here. I am that I am, not a memory, not a wound, not a history localized in time. I am not in the physical. I am not in the past. I am in presence. The story may be remembered. The self is redeemed by being where God is. Here, in this now, thou art the life of my life. I and my Father are one. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. I do not seek to use thee. I yield to be used of thee. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. The calendar cannot hang a name on I am. The body cannot fence in I am. Experience reports. It does not ordain. Identity is in God. So I turn from the echo to the voice, from the scene to the light, and I take my name where only truth speaks. Now the password of sufficiency becomes our breath. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not a charm, alignment. Not a plea, recognition. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things when the picture rises. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things when silence remains. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things when I do not know what to say and when I need say nothing at all. Seal us, Father, in thy law. Thou shalt have no other gods but one. We will not worship pain. We will not worship pride. We will not worship the past. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Let that be the only yoke upon our shoulders. As we sow, so shall we reap. We sow identification with Christ, not with conditioning. We sow blessing, not indictment. We sow presence, and we reap freedom. Do not let us tamper with thy impersonal law. Keep us simple, obedient to love, absent from the body of grievance, present with the Lord of peace. And now we ask for no sign but the inward assurance. We withdraw desire and wait in receptivity. If words fall, let them fall. If stillness fills, let it fill. We will not push. We will not pry. We will not engineer. We wait until the click comes, until the soft inward yes is given, not manufactured, bestowed. Then we rise, not to perform, but to let thee live. Live thou our life. Fulfill thyself in us. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. I am that I am. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And so it is, and I thank you.